Thank you, madam. You cold this morning?
A little chilly.
Is it cold out there?
Upper 50s.
Yeah,
I haven't been out yet, so
it's kind of wet, humid, all the rain and everything is bad.
yeah. Oh, well. How's everything over in your world?
Pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good. This should be yard week for me.
Yard week?
Yes, I'm getting. My son-in-law is coming with his rototiller and aerator
Oh,
and backhoe. We're gonna
Wow.
rip up most of the lawn and having 11 yards of topsoil delivered this. Yeah,
a little work.
Nice.
yeah, little work.
Well, not interested in the lawn. We're a little interested in the
Yeah,
lawn.
well, we tried to be not interested and it just kept disappearing and disappearing and disappearing. So we're on kind of a slope that runs into the house.
Uh-huh.
So it's a really good idea because of wash off runoff, to have that area seeded and hold.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we out here and over in front of the school, a lot of it's gone to moss,
Yeah, well,
and that's fine. It's green.
Yeah, right.
green doesn't require mowing.
But we did, as you noticed, replant this area that sort of disappeared out here.
You always had interesting mushrooms around the school.
Oh, I'll bet there, I remember you pointing out some.
I bet they're still there. They just want to be
I
noticed.
imagine so. I haven't looked. Actually. Our tenant just finally got moved out last night, although not entirely. He has to come back this morning and do a couple of things. But
Oh, so it's vacant? Going to be vacant?
till we find someone else.
Yeah. Well, I'd move right in if I was in the neighborhood looking for a place.
Well, I wish you would. You'd be much better than our previous tenant. Well, here's Joanne. Joanne is
Good morning.
not here. You're there.
I am here. No, I'm not. Yeah, sorry. My body still doesn't feel great. But I want to participate. My knees are still off, and of course now they made my hips off. I've also got they're drilling outside my house for a gas pipe, so I'm going to be on mute. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. They've been there for 2 days now.
Oh God.
So, anyway, but I did read last week's notes, and I did watch most of the video, so I thought that I would try to keep up.
Good.
Although I still can't stand evenly on my 2 feet. I have figured out that one of those floor rugs in the kitchen kind of helps, those foamy things. So
Yeah.
I was trying to do a little this morning on that, but I'm limited, but I'm here.
Okay. So before we start, this may not be appropriate for you, Joanne, but we're going to do an exercise a little bit later where I'd like you to lie on the floor.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll watch.
if you would like, Bill, if you'd like something to lie on that you don't have there, feel free to go and get it.
Okay, well, I think the floor all by itself is just fine.
Okay, good. Which of course is why the carpet is down here this morning, boys. Here, let's get this out of the way. Hold I don't know where Richard is. But well, then he travels. Questions?
No. Well, we'll get to it, I'm sure. I find that I don't exactly know what to do with myself from 6 o'clock up to 9 or 10.
How about
Yeah,
3 or 9?
with the arm, with the elbows, and this business. I seem to do it differently every time.
Yeah,
Well,
I have questions at 6 at, I guess, what is it? At 9 and 6 also about the amount of squatting versus bending, folding.
right.
I know we started out with an exercise where we would squat down and then bend forward. And as I'm doing the circles at 6 and 9, I'm not sure how much of each of those things is in there. I'm sure we're transitioning smoothly up to the top at 12 and down to the bottom, doing both things at 6, but the 9 and 12, I'm not, or whatever it is. The 6, 3 and 9 is, I'm not sure how much.
Okay. So maybe we should look at that posture for a moment. So 3 is a little confusing, and I think you can expect to spend quite a bit of time or quite a period of time to really get this movement. So remembering that we are not yet putting bend the bow or the C curve in the spine in, which will be a part of every movement in God's. But from this point, obviously, when we begin, we're pretty much vertical. As you rotate down to that first position, your body is going into a squat. So you are bending in the direction of 3 o'clock, roughly, whatever that is for you. And then there is an extension out of the body. It's not a lift, it's not a push out of the feet, but it's an opening of the quad and really all of the energy gates and cavities in the body, ideally, as you do this. And then as you come down to here, again, you're back to relatively vertical at this point. And then rotating up, not all the way, just halfway. And again, there is that opening. And then coming back in. In reference to the elbows are pretty much in at the top and at 6 o'clock. But when you go over here, notice that they're already starting to spread out. They're not going out here. We never go there, ideally, pretty much. There are exceptions, but basically we want the elbows to be more or less pointing downward. And so they are going out a bit.
I should have specified, I was talking about movement 4.
Oh,
My question.
movement
But,
four.
that's,
A little review of 3 is okay
yes,
too. So did that help a little bit, Bill?
Yes, yeah.
While we're on 3.
Yeah.
When you're down at 6 and you open, either direction that you're moving in, the physical movement does not seem very large. Are you opening the joints and cavities, the 100% or 70% of 100% that you can, or should it really match the amount of physical movement you're doing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. So I've never thought of it in those terms.
Okay.
Your physical movement is whatever your physical movement is.
Yeah, for focusing on the opening.
Well, for what is reasonable in your body, what's 70% of what you can do?
Right.
That circle could be, here,
Okay.
or it could be that it's there. What's right for your body?
Okay.
What can you reasonably do? And eventually another aspect of all of those determinations of how much you're doing in any movement is, can you do 20 of each movement and not run out of steam by the time you get to 6?
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that changes it, right?
It can very well. In terms of the opening and closing, it is 70 or 80% of whatever you can do.
Okay. Okay.
That is what you want to try to do.
Okay.
Does that help at all? I'm not sure. It doesn't.
Yeah.
In other words, you're not necessarily equating opening and closing with exactly
What your
physical
how much you're
movement is.
moving. Yeah. Okay.
Opening, closing, I mean, they're happening at the same time. They need to coordinate, but they are not necessarily determined one by the other.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your question on 4? Oh, the elbows.
The elbows and the hands going out to the edge of the.
We're going to work a little more on that later on,
Yeah,
but let me just basically what we're looking for. You come up to completing 3.
Yeah.
That is what comes before 4, isn't it? And so as you're going down, you start with the arms lined up with the sidelines. But then the elbows spread to the extent of your etheric body, and that's straight out this way eventually.
Okay.
Not straight to the side, but out to the side. And then as you start up, that comes from the elbow. The elbow immediately starts rotating down. That's what drives this movement.
Okay.
So it's the elbows coming back into the sidelines as you come up.
Okay.
That,
Thank you. Yeah, that's the question area. Yep.
Okay. Other questions?
No, just trying to do it right.
You got the rest of your life to work on that. Okay. Well, we're going to look at some other pieces here today. Let's look at something else we want to be aware of. What about your eyes while you're doing any Qigong? And if you're doing God's, everything that's in Qigong applies to God's. Your eyes can do a number of things. You can project out of your eyes, almost like the inside of your head is going out of your eyes toward whatever you're looking at. You can, in a way, suck it right back into your brain. But you also can keep your eyes neutral. And in the neutral, you also can project energy out or pull energy back into you, but without getting any sense of imbalance or overextending. When anyone just lets their eyes go out, they do have the sense of overextending and very easily going past whatever limits, whatever their limits are. If they just pull in too much, they're overextending inward. So let's go to what are the big things that you can expect your eyes to do. First, they can allow you to see what's around you, so you don't put your hand inside a spinning fan. But if you put your hands in front of you, you can have your eyes be completely relaxed. You don't need to use any effort whatsoever to see out of your eyes. If you're not blind, and if you don't have some serious problem so that you need really strong glasses, if you have the eyes still, they will look out and they will recognize what's coming toward them. But now we have another thing. The way that the human beings connect to the world with their intent has two ways that they do this. One is they go out to the world, and the other is they suck the world in. But to see what's in the world and let it come in, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to suck the world in, you do. To see what's out there in the distance, you don't need to do anything. But to have your mind and your energy project to that space, you do. So if you see a person who is extremely depressed, their eyes look dead because they're feeling terrible. They're sunken in sucking in everything that's out there. The only thing is that the way they're interpreting what's coming in is usually in a very negative sense. So in Qigong, you can project out and come in. But generally, this is just to make your qi stronger. You can read that later. So the question becomes, is that what you really want to do? For normal life, all you need to do is maintain this very smooth in and out, so the connection between your brain and your eyes is strong. Because then you actually generally see more of what's in you. Because if you don't have enough qi in your eyes, what happens is that the darker recesses of your unconscious mind start filling in with information that your brain then uses to tell you what you thought. If the power is very strong, your unconscious mind doesn't project as much in your conscious mind. It has no need to. It's satisfied that the job of seeing is getting done. So what you want to try to do is have neither in nor out. So could you do all the movements of God playing in the clouds with your eyes never in or out? Sure. And a big reason why you would do that is that if your eyes are neither in or out, it actually becomes easier to be inside your body and to really start relaxing it. When you really go out or you really come in, it becomes harder to truly relax your body or mind. You get other things. Whatever it was you were trying to pull in, you pull in. And whatever you're trying to push out, you push out. But you don't get a deep sense of relaxation and a deeper sense of letting go. So for example, you are doing a projecting out move as in movement 3, 3 and 9. And you found that even though you have your mind inside your body, and even if you're kind of pushing your chi through it, you're really not feeling that much happening. So between your forearm and your hand, at a moment like that, you want to let your eyes really open up so you can feel the chi start flowing through. And again, if you're doing a move where you are coming in, but you're not feeling that much coming into your arms, then what you could do is let your eyes pull, and you will activate those channels coming in. So these are some things you can do with your eyes. You don't have to do it. You don't have to go bug-eyed or have that depressed eye look. The difference just has to be very subtle. Remember, it's not your eyeballs that are doing it. It is your brain. It's not your eyes that are going out or coming in. It's your brain that is going through your eyes. It is the chi that's inside your brain that's going out through your eyes or coming back into your brain. Your eyeballs don't do that much. They really don't. In terms of the way a human being lives, they don't have that big an impact. Now, I'm not going to try to demonstrate this because you wouldn't be able to see it, matter of fact. It's not dramatic enough. What's happening inside your brain is dramatic, but nobody can see that. So what I want you to do is just to do 4 repetitions of each posture and see if you could allow your eyes to remain neutral. Okay? Just to the best of your ability. So how was that? What did you experience in reference to the eyes?
At other times, I would call it more of a gaze, kind of maybe a neutral gaze, which is not so much the feeling as the seeing piece. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking at anything. I am, because I am, well, now I think I would probably say looking more inward. But I think I was struggling. Yeah, so I was struggling a bit with, is that the same? I guess is my, I don't know if you can answer that or not. It's kind of like you can't see in my brain either, right? So.
No, but I think the answer is yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, with my eyes in neutral as far as I could get it, I think I felt that I was more inside myself
Good.
than normal.
Yep.
Wasn't watching.
Yeah. I think two things I'd say about movement. I'm not going to get deeply into correcting movement at the moment, but in going into 2, being aware that the wrists don't have to cross a lot to arrive at that point. So I did see kind of a tendency. I could see the connection of the Qigoong points, but then it was kind of like getting to here, and it doesn't need to be there. The points you're connecting are just 3 fingers width above the wrist crease. So it's not all that far up. And you should eventually, maybe not at the moment, but have as strong an energetic connection there as you have when you connect the 2 Qigoong points. Okay. This is for Bill. Nagel here because he had asked about 4, and so I'm watching him doing 4, and no.
Well,
So you got started fine. You go down, you're going out to here.
yeah,
The movement goes around and in. What you were doing was you were going here and then you were immediately
Yeah,
coming
okay.
back in.
so,
So you went around that movement on up.
okay,
But the trick to it is that as you do that, the elbows are dropping.
okay.
So it's kind of counterintuitive. Elbows dropping feels like you want to come in this way, but actually you don't want to do that.
Okay.
So you may need to play a little bit with that.
Well, I knew something wasn't coordinated.
Well, there we go. So, any other questions in there?
Doing the, each repetition, the eyes wanted to either strain in the same spots. A lot of it seemed to be transition points. So like in one, as you start to come in, it seemed to be a point where my eyes wanted to work harder to project out. So it was insightful to see points where your mind is really derailing from what you're doing.
Good.
So
That was good. That's a good awareness. I realize I did want to say one other movement thing, and that is to keep working on making 3, the movement of the body in 3, a circle. It's not either way.
no squares or triangles or
No,
ovals.
no corners, no straight top. It's all round. Okay. So sit down again. And we're going to continue on in our Taoist breathing. So the first 3 parts of Taoist longevity breathing are the diaphragm and belly, the 3 parts of the sides into your liver and spleen, and breathing into your kidneys. So the kidneys, as I imagine you all are aware, are up underneath your ribs. And there are several things that kidney breathing should do. The first one is that your kidneys have a regular internal movement. And the breathing into your kidneys has to make sure that that regular internal movement doesn't get stuck. So it does what it's supposed to do, and that's enough. The second thing is that around your kidneys and around your lower back are a lot of tissues that very often become shortened. When the breathing into the kidneys is done regularly, it tends to bring those tissues to the natural length. And that helps the padding of the kidneys, which protects them. If those muscles have a lot of spring, they can, for instance, absorb a blow when something hits your back. If you don't have a lot of spring, the force could go straight into your kidneys, which is really not a great idea. From the perspective of Chinese medicine, and God's is also based in Chinese medicine, just as Qigong is one of the branches of Chinese medicine, that your kidneys are the kickstarter of the circulation of energy between your internal organs. Your kidneys are the source of your life force. So in terms of internal organs, they are the source of your life force. It is not the Dantian. Given how directly connected the kidneys and the Dantian are, it's become somewhat of a moot point. But the fact is that in terms of your internal organs, the strength of your body, what kickstarts your other internal organs moving, where your generalized vitality comes from for any reason is from your kidneys. So having good, strong, healthy kidneys is a way to start having a good, strong, and healthy life. Now we have a problem. Most people have never really thought about feeling their kidneys and can't do so, unless maybe they watch boxing and they've been told that kidney shots are banned because, of course, they can kill people. If your kidneys stop working, so will the rest of your organs. So most people are not used to even feeling their lower back. If you say to someone, tell me what's happening with your lower back, you often will just get a blank look. So how we start with this is very simple. And so here's where I want you, if you can, to lie on the floor. I want you to lie on your back with your knees bent up and feet flat on the floor. Pick your spot in the rug. Joanne, maybe you can press your back up against the back of your chair and maybe do some of this.
I have done this before, so I know where you're going.
Yeah, I know you have. So breathe with your diaphragm and your belly and your sides, and just feel those basic parts that we've worked on before being very regular. And now begin to breathe into your lower back until you can get as much of your lower back touching the floor as possible. But more important, you get that when you're breathing, that you're pushing your lower back into the floor, and then it's releasing back up. When you inhale, you're pushing into the floor. And when you're exhaling, it's coming a little bit off the floor. So breathe with your entire low back. And then the question becomes, is there some part of your lower back that is tight? And if it is, then breathe into that area a little bit more, so that by very gently breathing, you can slowly start from inside your body, stretching the muscles in your lower back until they feel pretty much equal on the left and the right sides. Now start breathing a little higher up in your lower back, and you will notice that you feel something inside your body, and that something you feel hopefully is your kidneys. No, it doesn't do you any good to anatomically know where they are if you can't feel them. Because if you can't feel your kidneys, you can't affect them. And if you can't affect them, how could you talk about breathing with your kidneys? So maybe you're breathing into a thought, but you're not breathing into your kidneys. So do this and try to become really clear that you're breathing with your kidneys. And then breathe into your kidneys without forgetting to breathe with your diaphragm, your belly, and your sides. So all three of them are moving together. Now you may be able to breathe into your kidneys very quickly, but I do want you in your practice to do it until you are very, very, very clear that you're doing so. So now I'd like you to sit up. Don't get off the floor, stay where you are, and just put your hands on your kidneys. It could be the back of your hands or the palms. So you feel your kidney breathing actually moving your hands. In terms of basic Taoist breathing, the kidneys are the hardest for most people to do. But this is part of the basic program. And then I'd like you to get on all fours. And I want you to feel your lower back is breathing, and that you're breathing into your kidneys. And again, in your practice, you would do this until you could feel it really clearly. And then standing up. In your kind of basic position with your feet parallel. And again, putting the hands on the kidney, backs or palms. And breathe into your kidneys. Now, keeping your hands where they are, sink into a qua fold to a comfortable degree. And then bend forward 70%. And breathe. This is obviously a position we go into in God's in a number of places. And then standing up, and you can release the arms. See if you can breathe into your kidneys and lower back and sides and belly and diaphragm all together. Now endeavoring to keep that breathing going in all those parts. Again, do 4 repetitions of each of the postures we've worked on. Feel that breathing into your kidneys all the way through. How was that?
Or to keep my mind on the kidney breathing.
Well, you're working on a lot of things, so
Yeah.
yes.
I found it very helpful. It helped focus kind of to bring everything together.
Mhm.
Because I found if you were a little off or went beyond your 70%, really cut out the focus and your awareness of the kidneys.
Good.
But that you would quickly, once you adjusted, come back. So it made it easier. I think at least it made it easier for me to kind of bring it all together a little bit. Because you just, you either were feeling them or not.
Right. Joanne or Bill?
Yeah, a couple things. One is I might be at an advantage here because I've had 2 babies. And so focusing on the kidneys during pregnancy was something that I did a lot. I worked with my midwife on. And I've also, in being physically unable to do the full exercises, have been working on the breathing because I can do that sitting down.
Yeah.
So I do feel, I don't feel my breathing is always in sync, but I do feel like I really have that awareness of breathing into my kidneys and of being
Good.
able to do that. Yeah.
Good.
For me, I find the breathing really important to help coordinating, like Adam said, but also I don't really have the sense of my kidneys, but I have pretty good sense of the side breathing at this point. So hopefully I'll get there someday.
Yeah. So particularly for those of you who are having some difficulty feeling this, all those exercises on the floor are really a good thing to do because it gives you a real physical way to be aware of that connection. So I encourage you to play with that and use it. But well, I have another element, but I don't really have time to do it. So we'll come back to that next week. Maybe that's just as well. So what I was going to suggest is let's do another short flow, and I'll do it with you. Sometimes that helps to see me doing it.
Okay. One quick question.
Sure.
When you get to 3, does it matter which way you go first?
It's preferable to go clockwise, so to your right.
Okay.
Go 3, 6, 9, 12, and then
Then
reverse
Okay.
the other way.
Okay.
So when we're doing, let's say, 10 repetitions in 3, 5 each way?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's okay when you're doing whatever number of repetitions, if the number you're doing on each side in 3 is an odd number, that's not a problem. So it's important that the number of repetitions that you do is an even number, though. Okay. So do 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever. Okay. Any other questions before we do this? Okay. So let's do 6 repetitions. If we have time to fit that in. So stepping out and taking that moment to establish breath, and structure, and ideally allowing the mind to extend through the body. Really feeling that. And then beginning. Close. Last minute questions, thoughts? Anything at all? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
David. Good work. Good work. Practice, practice, practice.
Was this a new session this week?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
It's either this week or next week.
okay.
Um,
I thought you mentioned that last week. That was gonna be a session.
I think I did. Actually, if you wait a
I
moment, I'll-
tried to count, I think it's next week,
Let me see.
if you hold on just
Okay.
a moment, let me go check my book.
Okay.
Sure.
Gotta stay right on top of this thing.
Yeah. See, they're falling behind.
Yeah.
Adam, do you feel like you're settling in more?
Yeah, I am a little bit. Thanks for asking, Joanne. You know, I finally got a kitchen table, so that helps a lot.
That's nice.
I picked it up in West Hartford off a guy. I fit a whole table and 7 chairs into my little hatchback somehow, so.
Great.
Clown car.
Right.
So yeah, next week is the start of the
Next
new
week.
session.
Oh, okay.
Next week is the start. Okay. Yeah.
So
Next week.
checks, Venmo, whatever suits you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
have a good week. Bye,
everyone.
Bill.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not through with you.
See you, David. Thank you.
You're welcome, Bill. Thank you. Have a good week.
Hey, you too. You also.
All right. Are we not doing, well, I can't do the form. I can't do the floor.
You can't do the form.
I mean, I'm struggling with a couple of different things. And one is that without having the balance, right? Without being able to put equal weight on both legs. Yeah. I mean, the knee is much better, but it's still, you know, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But because I know what it's doing to me.
Yeah.
But that makes, I mean, I did all the practice today, just now, I'm sitting, right? So I got a armless chair, you know, and I can actually bend at the quad better, where I can't feel comfortable doing that standing at this point.
Yep.
Because it's just, yeah, because of the pressure. I mean, you understand the body. So it is easier. I mean, I have been working on the breathing. And I think now I feel good after this class that I could probably do more of this in the chair. But I had been particularly really working on on the yin, the yang, the energy up and, and all of that. And you can't do that if your legs feel really uneven and if you can't put weight on your right side. That's what's really frustrating, is not being able to do the flow now for nearly 3 weeks, because I feel like, well, for almost 2 weeks, I could barely walk. I had to use a cane a week and a half ago to just go out.
Wow.
It's not that bad now, but I don't want to injure myself, obviously.
No,
And I don't feel I can do a quad squat at this point, because it's I'm afraid it would hurt the knees. So that's my struggle at this point when it comes to the flow. Anyway, it's a little easier to get gods.
well, you I completely understand. So you're of course welcome to stay or go, whatever works best for you.
I think I'll stay, just so I don't, so I don't lose it.
Yeah.
At least watching, that I think is good. I'm also going to get on mute again because they're drilling the street again. So I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just awful. There's a pipeline from the road all the way up our hill, all the way up our driveway. It's water, it's gas, it's big holes in the ground.
Oh, God.
Really annoying, but it has to be done. There was a gas leak. Yes, it has to be done. So on the street, not in the
Indeed.
house, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So is Adam is there? Adam, you there?
I'm here. Hey.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm gonna enlarge the picture so you maybe see us.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. And then I'll do mute. Yeah, okay.
I know Adam is here.
Speaker view. Great. Okay. Yeah, very good.
So in your practice with no arms, how's the second paragraph doing?
It's a lot more challenging.
Yes.
I think it's easier in the first paragraph because there's less thinking involved as to where to go next.
Yeah.
Without the arms, it's pretty easy to get lost in the second paragraph, I'm finding. Because it's sort of a real test of how well you know which posture comes next. But yeah.
So I don't feel it's something that we necessarily need to do in class unless you have particular questions in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do encourage you to keep working on it.
Mm.
Doesn't have to be full time.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be every once in a while. You have a day when you say you feel strong enough to try it.
Sure.
Because what you discover is that, well, what you discover is what you don't really know or understand. What needs to be worked out? But why don't I know where I'm going next? Because it really doesn't matter whether the arms are there or not. So it's a good thing to keep working on to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And it will get easier, obviously, over time.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to suggest is that we begin to think a little more detail about opening and closing.
Okay.
And really going back and focusing to begin with just on the hands and wrists and feet and ankles.
Okay.
So those, of course, are connected when we talk about the external correspondences. You probably remember, I'm sure you both remember that. Hands, wrists, feet, ankles, elbows, knees are the second one. Third one is shoulders and quad and hip. And actually, probably just sit down for a moment. Joanne will like this. So just for a moment, because you know how to do this, you worked on it before, just feel your hands and wrists closing and opening. And really feel the movement of the energy through them. So as you close, it comes in from the fingertips, goes through Qigoong, through the wrist. As you open, it goes out. And you want to feel it equally in all 10 fingers. Do you have some awareness of that?
Yeah.
Good. So the more difficult part of this, of course, is the feet and ankles. Partially just because we stand on them, but also because we tend to overdo what we want to do with the feet. And we have to think about the fact that we don't want to just clench everything up because we know that closes everything off. But if you can get a sense of the Qigoong point in the center, more or less in the center, lifting a little, and then pushing back down towards the earth, so that you pull the toes and the heels towards each other, and then push back down. So first, just do that. Just see if you can, without, so in other words, you don't want to close off what's happening through the feet, but you do want to use the movement of the feet to encourage the opening and closing. And we're focusing really at the moment on Qigoong because that's where we have the rising energy.
Okay.
So just finding what is that small, gentle movement that actually causes some energetic response. You can feel something happening. So it's a pretty small movement. This is something you really have to be careful you don't overdo. And clearly, even sitting down, feeling the movement through the ankle is also difficult at first. But this is not your first time at doing this, so see if you can feel the ankle join with the feet, opening, closing. And now just let your hands be relaxed. Let the forearm rest on your thigh. And as you open and close the feet and the ankles, what you're looking for is a response in the hands. Not that the hands are moving, but that there is an energetic response in the hands. That the hands are opening and closing energetically. That can also be a way to recognize how much you have to do with the feet, because it actually doesn't take very much to cause a response in the hands. It really helps to keep that sense of the gong point lifting as you close and pushing down as you open. Of course, what we're looking for here is that relatively basic principle that it's actually the movement of the legs, in this case, the feet and the ankles, that are more important than what the hands and wrists are doing. You have some sense of that?
I do. I mean, the feet are definitely hard.
Yep.
And there's no sense of smoothness with the feet. You know, it feels like you kind of start and stop, start, and then all of a sudden you realize you're overdoing.
Yep.
And I definitely closing the feet, it feels real easy for a lot of the muscles to engage and really contract hard.
Yes, it is.
Especially like with, yeah, maybe just you don't have that much fine motor control. You're not used to doing that, moving the feet and toes that way, but it feels like the smaller toes definitely are trying to like pull in hard.
Mm.
Been there, done that.
Really like trying to focus on just relaxing
Right.
to pull that Qigoong point up.
Yep.
The ankles is a little tougher.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to, I have a general sense of the whole ankle, but actually getting into that joint and feeling the opening and closing happening there
Mhm.
is tough.
Yep.
So, but no matter what I'm doing with the feet, it does feel like you can feel a response in the hands, at least.
Good. Joanne?
Yeah, my right ankle is swollen because of my knee swollen. So it's interesting because I can really feel a difference in the left and the right feet. When I first began, I don't know where the reflexology points are, but I could feel it up to my left kidney. And so I thought that was interesting in feeling the kidney in a different way than I felt it in terms of the breathing into the kidney. But yeah, I think what Adam, you just said is helpful. Yeah, too much muscle. It's easier to do that probably while we're sitting, right? Once we stand on them, we're going to have a different reaction.
Yeah.
But I could definitely feel the hands as I was moving the feet when we got to that. Yes, part of the exercise. And feel it energetically, not physically. So that's the important, the lesson of bringing that back to the feet.
Good. So obviously, this is something you could do anytime. You just have to be sitting around. I mean, whatever, you have a couple of minutes, nothing's happening, you're waiting, do a little bit of this. It's part of discovering how you can practice all the time. Thank you, Master Joe. Because nobody's going to know what you're doing. And you don't have to feel embarrassed about it, unless you want to get up and do the form and do it.
Harder to do anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you also want to do this standing. And you can do it just with the arms relaxed at your side. And you're right, it gets more difficult with the feet as soon as you stand. I mean, I can stand here and do it. And there is, if you allow yourself, there is a tendency to clench rather than, but if you really keep working on just recognizing that the movement of the Qigoong point, Yong Chuan, up and down is very small. You're not trying to suck it up into your ankle. You're just getting it to move whatever it moves, just a little bit. And that's all it really takes. It doesn't take a lot. And you'll find that even as you do this, you begin to feel it, or at least I do, up my back, over my head, and down the front of the body. It even without any other parts actually moving. So that what the feet are doing is really important. And obviously, we want to think about taking it into the form. And you have some basic large scale ideas of where there is opening and closing in the form. And so this is something you can play with in that.
Hmm.
And I encourage you to do it very slowly.
Okay.
Because you find that because this is now a change, you now are focusing really on the feet being the important part here. It's not what the hands are doing, it's what are the feet doing at this point? How do I take that on into this movement?
Mhm.
So slow it down because you just can't do it quickly to begin with.
Hmm. Right.
So just for fun, why don't you play a little bit of the first paragraph? Just try to keep your focus on the feet as really causing the energy movement. Interesting.
It's difficult. I think it's tough because the movement is so small with the feet.
Yep.
That it is tough to spread it out over the movement.
Hmm.
You know, by the time you're halfway through the movement, it's like you're all the way open or as open as you can get
Yeah.
it, or as close as you can get it. And
So it's actually the opening, a lot of the opening clothings in this style are moving really fast. Actually,
Mm,
faster than they are in the postures of the Yang style for the most part.
mm.
So, yeah, it's a little more difficult.
so that was tough to try and slow that down. Then I found about halfway through, when opening, I felt like I wanted to open in different directions with the legs.
Mm.
So like the back leg felt like it was opening up,
Mhm.
and the front leg felt like it was opening down, if that makes sense.
Mm. Mhm.
So, yeah,
So definitely tough.
yeah. It is. So explore this week
Okay,
and we'll come back with a little more experience of it and do some refining.
okay.
Okay?
What I did, what I had to do, because I didn't feel like I could do the flow, was I stood and I kind of tried to figure out with this foam mat what I could do. So I could, with standing with the right leg on the mat and the left leg on the floor, I just, having my weight on it, I just did open and closing. And I think that actually, I was thinking, as I was listening here, I think it's kind of like having done the breathing exercises before, because I couldn't do much else, that it lays a foundation. So Adam, you were at a disadvantage because you were doing this sitting down, and then you were not only doing it standing up, but you were flowing. So that makes sense to me as I listen to you, kind of like, it's easy to get lost. And I think actually being able to stand and do what we were doing sitting before moving into the flow might be a kind of more foundational way. I mean, I'm kind of forced to do that, but I think it will benefit me. It might benefit you too. I don't know. It's just because I began to feel it more energetically rather than physically throughout that. So that I must have been helping.
Yep. Good. Well, that'll keep you occupied.
Good. That'll keep us busy.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Good for a while. Thank you, Dave.
Oh, you're
All
welcome.
right.
Joanne,
Next week, one way or another, I hope. I hope in person.
well, I
Feel better, Joanne.
hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I think now the swelling's, I've kind of got the swelling going down. So I think the big issue is really what has to happen to the knee. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, is this a matter of, just kind of getting past it or having to do something more serious? That we don't know yet, but
Well, good
we'll
luck.
see. All
Yeah.
right.
Been there.
Yeah, you have. Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Adam. Doing the form on carpet isn't the easiest thing either.
No, that's what I'm finding. I've been doing it